name is Dina Williams. I'm the high school PE teacher for regular PE.
My name is Mrs. McKinney, and I'm a teacher at Meridian High School. I teach social studies, civics, geography, some world history classes. So that's what I do here.
Hi, my name is John Rood, and I teach English here at Meridian High School. I have mainly juniors and seniors, college prep juniors and dual credit, and then I also teach British literature.
I think it's a fine idea to have a safer school always. Metal detectors are expensive, but they pay for them in the county buildings, and there's far less people to go in and out of a county building than it does in a school. So I feel like we need some type, even if it's a hand wand, and we wand people, either way, some way of protecting kids.
So school security, every building, every school district and every building across the country is dealing with the same issue, and they're all dealing with it in slightly different ways. Although after every school shooting, we're learning more about what we could do better and do differently. And so a lot of schools, they put in a situation where you go to the front door and the front door's locked and you have to buzz in and get permission to come in the building after the school started. Although we've found out from Sandy Hook that they had the exact same thing, that he took a gun and shot through the glass and walked right through the door. So the buzzer didn't work. So it's always we're trying to find new ways. It's never going to be perfect. The event that happened recently in Florida was a little disturbing. It was almost my worst case scenario, because what they did was he went in and he pulled the fire alarm. So if I thought about it from my point of view, if this had happened at my building, how could I have saved those kids? And I don't think I could have done any better than what they did in Florida, because it's not like I could put the kids in my classroom and shut the door, because they were streaming out. They thought it was a fire alarm, and so they were in the halls. And we just have to adapt to whatever the situation is. I don't think we can fully prepare.
Yeah, personally, I know some schools have, not in Illinois so much, but I've heard that in some states that they've decided to allow teachers to carry weapons, but I'm not a big fan of that myself. I would rather not have that burden along with everything else. No, I mean, when I can see people arguing for that, but myself, I'm not a supporter of that. And you know, metal detectors, I guess if you're thinking about school safety, you know, before you get on a plane or before you run through that, or some sort of security, but I would hate to think that, I would hate for schools to feel like almost like a prison as far as all the security and you know, like guards and things like that, police officers. I hope it doesn't come to that at Meridian High School. I know some schools have it as just a matter of course. They have metal detectors, and again, if someone brings a weapon in, you think to yourself, if I was an administrator, oh, could I have prevented that by having one? I'm sure that would make me stop and think about it. But haven't really thought that out. If I thought that would be a good idea for, let's say, Meridian to adopt that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a whole nother level of bullying, because there's cyberbullying. People think they can say whatever they want to someone through a text message or on Facebook or Snapchat, and can be mean, and they are way braver through a phone than they would ever be face to face. And also, like in the hallways, it's hard to catch people, because people don't do it when they're around a teacher. You know, they're sneaky and they just say something in passing, and it's hard to catch. So bullying is real hard to catch and stop, but I think it's went way over the top with technology.
It is so much worse for your generation. In my generation, if you got bullied at school, you got to walk home. When you're at home, you could be in your room by yourself, and you didn't have to deal with it for 12 hours until school started the next day. Now it follows you right into your bedroom because it's on your smartphone with your Facebook and Instagram, and it never stops. And before, if there was an incident that you were embarrassed about at school, maybe a couple people in the hall saw it, and maybe they talked about it. But now someone takes out a cell phone and makes a video of it, and then they put it out there for everybody to see. Or they talk about it on Facebook, and it's not just a few people in your 5th hour class. It's the whole community knows about it. And now the parents are chiming in, and it becomes this great big, I think this generation seems very guarded. Like the senior class this year, it's almost like people are afraid to be themselves because they're afraid that if they make a mistake, it's going to follow them forever because it's always going to be on Facebook or it's always going to be, yeah, I think it is a lot harder for your generation.
I think that's a good point. It used to be, I know there were bullies when I was in high school in the early 70s, but once I got home, I was away from that. Now, sometimes with social media and with the internet, that bullying can continue, and I can see how it might be harder for students, for someone who, to get away from that. With it's not just, well, I'm at school, it happens, or when I'm walking home, which was the case with me. But once I got home, I was kind of in a safe space there. But yeah, I think that's a good point. The cyberbullying and the harassment that you hear about on instant messaging or Twitter. Yeah.